This jumbo set has to be the most comfortable luxury ever seen. Do you see how full it makes your hip area look? I was just trying to be all goofy because the clothes were just giving me the vibe. Now to shock you, the front and the back of this pant is cut together. There is no side joining. I mean, it is a one-way cut and sew jumbo pants. You guys, nobody should sleep on this tutorial. Make sure you get your fabric and let's begin. Before we go into class, make sure you have subscribed. If you're a beginner, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get noticed whenever I make new posts on this platform. Do well to like and subscribe so that this video gets to more viewers like you. So Ankara comes in almost 6 yards. Now you're going to divide the Ankara fabric into 2 equal halves. Okay, now once you've gotten one of the halves, you're going to fold 2 yards of it into 2 equal parts. What did I say? 2 yards into 2 equal parts. Now if you're making for a size 12, 14 and above and you want it to be as loose, you're going to fold about 2.5 yards, 2.5 yards, okay, into 2 equal parts. Now once you've done that, place your tape rule from the edge of your fabric, go in by 3 inches, so it will look like you're giving a zipper allowance. All right, so when you rule across through that 3 inches, it will look like you're giving a zipper allowance. I'll tell you why you're giving that boundary line. Okay, now after you've rolled across your fabric, the next thing you want to do is to fold your fabric into 2 again. This time around you're going to have about 4 layers. Make sure that the part of your fabric which is on fold does not exceed this line you just drew. Now this line we just drew is not a zipper line, okay, let's just call it a boundary line. So make sure that the part that is on fold does not exceed this boundary line. Right now your focus should be on that center which is on fold. Place your tape rule from the edge of your fabric, go in by 11 inches. Yes, mark 11 inches. After you mark 11 inches, get your tape, place it on that point where you marked 11 inches. Now you're going to go in by 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches, and I have just marked it. So this is what it will look. Now you're going to connect from that 2.5 inches you just marked all the way back to the waistline of your trouser like you see on the screen. Now this we have just created is like the crotch area. That's what we've just created. Okay, now that we've done, you can now go ahead and curve the midpoint between both lines you just drew. You can see how I give it a curve. Next, place your tape from the waistline of your fabric. Now go in by 20 inches. Go in by 20 inches. That should be your knee point. Place your tape right there and go in by 1.5 inch. Then connect it all the way to the crotch line and all the way to the hem of your trouser, just like you see me do. Here I just sharpened the line so that it's spread enough from the screen. Please pay close attention. The next thing we'll do now is to cut out. We're cutting out on the first 2 layers of our fold. Okay, you can see the way I'm cutting just on the first 2 layers. Right now that is the front of the pant. That's the front of the pant. The next thing we'll do now is to increase whatever we had on that front by 1 inch. You can see the way I extended my hand on 1 inch while cutting the back. That part we added extra 3 inches is the back. Now when you get to the knee point, you can now make the back and the front equal, but from the waist to the crotch area it should be 1 inch wider on the back. You can see that we are done with cutting. So I had to place this on the floor so you all see how it turns out. This is what you should have when you're done cutting. The sides should be together. Now when you separate them, this is what they look like. Okay, you can see that the side is on fold, no joining, right? Yes, so that's that about the cutting of the pant. Now it's time to go over to the sewing machine, but before then let's quickly cut the top. Now for the top you need about 50 to 56 inches or even 2 yards of Ankara piece. If you're a size 10 like the owner of this piece, you can go with 50 to 54 inches. If you are a plus size, you can get to up to 2 yards. Okay, so you can see that I have about 50 inches right on this table. Now you're going to fold your 50 inches into 2 equal halves. Okay, so place your tape rule from the edge of the paper of your fabric. We need to get the full length for the top, so I use the length 18 for the top. You know it's a crop top. Don't forget to add your hemming allowance. Okay, if you add your hemming allowance, it should be like up to 20 inches for the length of the top. Now fold your fabric into 2 equal parts again, so you have 4 layers. So I just use my scissors to notch the center of my top. Place your tape roll from the center of your folded fabric. Go in by 3 inches for the wideness of the neckline. Please, you can go in by 3.5 if you're not slim. Okay, now for the depth, you go in by 1.5 like so. Connect the line to that 3 inches you marked, and that will give you your neck line. Okay, now locate your bust point, your bust area. Place your tape from the center of your fabric and then mark the measurement for your bust circumference. Now the bust circumference we're working with is 36. Divide by 4, that'll give you 9. I'm gonna add extra 3 inches. Okay, and that'll give me 12, so I'll mark 12. Now from that point where I mark 12, I'm going to rule a straight line all the way to the edge of my fabric. Just rule it straight like this. Yes, and that will be the opening for the sleeve. Now I'm going to come from that 12 inches as well. I'll extend that 12 all the way to the hem of the top. Okay, now if you've been following, the next is to cut out. Okay, cut out the side and also cut out the neckline and slit the sleeve area open, and that's that. After opening up the piece you just got, you can see what it should look like, right? Now the next is to extend the sleeve area. Yes, so in order to extend the sleeve area, you get the part of the fabric you're working with that you want to serve as a sleeve. Place it side by side on the sleeve area on your main bodies. Make sure they are of the same measurement, and then you can pin up. Well, I'm going to take this to the sewing machine to stitch immediately. I'm going to stitch the sleeve area to the main bodies. Yes, so just so you know, I added extra 15 inches to this sleeve, so the length of that sleeve you're seeing on the table is 15. Then about 2 inches is for hemming allowance. So now we're trying to cut the interfaces for our main bodies, the interface around the neckline. Now before we do that, we would separate the 2 pieces, because one is for the front and one is for the back, and obviously the one for the front had like a slit around the neckline. Now you're going to take your tape rule and mark about 3 inches, so you're going to slit this about 3 inches deep. Okay, now carefully do this. You don't want your slit to be very deep because your cleavages may be visible through the slit, so just 3 inches from the neckline is fine. Okay, now that you've done that, the next thing you want to do is to cut the interface. Now for the interface, you already know, fold the fabric for the interface into 2. Make sure that it sizes your main bodies very properly, especially around that neck area. Okay, now you're going to trace your main fabric directly on the interface and then cut out, making sure the necklines are very aligned, Now you can see that I've just cut out the neckline. Once you cut out the neckline, the next thing you want to do is to give the interface the shape you want it to have. Give it the shape you want it to have. That one is left to your discretion, okay? If you want it to be round, square, it is your choice to make. So you can see the shape of my interface. Now you're simply going to stitch round about the neckline of the front piece. So you stitch, be very mindful of the round area and then the slit area. That slit area, you need to make sure that your V is very neat, okay? You can see the way I did mine, very demure. So after you're done stitching the neckline, the next thing is to now notch round about that neckline before you flip to the right side. Make sure you notch carefully. Now I'll repeat the same process for the back piece. You can see that the interface for my back piece is just round. Yes, so notch around the neck area as usual and then flip to the right side. Now this is my front piece after interfacing. I've also gone ahead to iron the neckline so you can see how flat and neat it looks. Now same thing as the back. Now you would place your front piece directly on your back piece. Make sure the right sides are facing each other. Now you're going to stitch close the shoulder lines. You're going to stitch the shoulder. So just in case you do not know what a French seam is, so French seam, you're going to stitch from the right side of the fabric like you see, and then you turn it to the back or the wrong side and then you inseam. This is best if you are not lining your fabric, okay? So this is what it looks like. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to attach the sleeve. We're going to attach the sleeve to the shoulder area. So extend our sleeve area rather. I'll use the same French seam, okay? So after extending the sleeve, this is what it looks like. I also use the French seam method. You can see that that's basically what I use throughout the top, okay? Now after we've extended the sleeve, the next will be to close up the sides like so, and I will still be using the French seam. After stitching up the sides, trim the excesses, hem with the lighter if you have one, and then flip to the wrong side and give it that inseam permanent stitch, okay? Once you're done with this, the next thing is to go ahead and hem the hem of the top, okay? I have done that and our top is basically ready. I've also gone ahead to iron this flat, okay? You can see the hem. The length of my top was short, so I added about 2 inches extra for the hemming, okay? So that's how I was able to hem this top. You can see the side seams, they are all French seam, and it's actually neat as I want. On to the next. So this is our pants and we're about to lock them up. Now you can see that the sides have no joining. So what we're basically going to do is to stitch together the front crotch area and then stitch together the back crotch area. Let me show you. So after holding the crotch area together, you stitch the left side and the right side, which are equivalent to the front and the back. So I've gone ahead to stitch down the crotch areas of the front and the back. You can see the back is slightly longer than the front. Now we're going to open this up. When you open it up, it will give you the trouser shape. So the next thing you do is to go and stitch down the center of the leg. Then after stitching, you guys, this is how it should look. Your pant is almost ready because all you have to stitch is the crotch area and then the thigh area, and that's all, right? Now the next thing we're going to do is to fix our elastic band. Now for the waistband, whatever you have on the waistline of your trouser, that is what you should use as the length of your waistband. And now for the wideness of the waistband, it should be up to 6 inches wide. Then when you fold it, it should be 3 inches like you see. Now for the elastic, we'll be using a black elastic that is 2 inches wide. And now if you want to know the length of elastic you need, you're going to check your waist measurement. Whatever you have as your waist measurement, that is what you use for the waistband. The only thing you will do is just take out 4 inches from whatever you have on your waist, because you don't want the elastic too tight. You still have to pass through your hip area and then get to your waist. So the elastic of your waist measurement will work. Just take out 4 inches from your waist measurement. I hope that makes sense. Now the next thing I'll do is to sandwich the elastic using my waistband. So first off, I stitch the elastic to one edge of the waistband, after which I will cover it up with the other edge of the waistband like you see on the screen. Now while stitching this, make sure you stretch your elastic to the barest minimum, like stretch it until the elasticity is, in fact, stretch it so that your waistband can be as slim and shrinked as possible. So after stitching on one edge, this is how it looks. Now go ahead and cover up with the other edge. Now while stitching on the second stitch, also stretch your elastic very well, like stretch it. Okay, you can see the way I'm stretching from both front and back. After stitching, guys, this is how stretching my band looks. Now the next thing I'll do is to stitch up the edges of the waistband so that it becomes a circle. Now after stitching up, I went ahead to give my waistband a top stitch at the top of the band and then a center stitch so that the fabric shrinks in very well with the elastic. And so for every stitch, just make sure you are stretching your elastic properly. So yeah, after doing that, this is the result. The fabric is properly shrinked. Now we're going to fix our waistband on the main pants. Now you can fix the waistband from any area at all because it is now a circle, and yeah, just use any area you want to use for any part of the pant. You can start with pinning up, or you can take this straight to your machine and then stitch up. Now like I said earlier, while stitching the elastic on your pant, do well to stretch the elastic waistband. Stretch it so much so that the elasticity would have disappeared, so that it can contain every area of your waist pants. Okay, now the next thing you're going to create is a strap. This tiny rope thing is called a strap. So it will be fixed at the center of the front of your pants so that it shows you that this is the front and the other part without the belt is the back. It's just fancy. Okay, so here guys, your pants is very much ready. If you're doing like a ready to wear sales, this video is definitely for you, because the whole no stitch on the sides make your work faster, saves your thread, saves your time. Yeah, make sure you subscribe to my channel because I always give detailed tutorials. If you have any question, see me in the comment section. Bye.